If you want to understand the true state of any society, look at what it allows to happen to its children. Those who uphold American patriarchy claim to value family. They claim to care about children. They claim to be protecting the future. And yet, children in the United States are growing up with anxiety they should never have to experience. They are navigating fear, instability, and violence as if it were normal. They are asked to adapt to conditions that were never designed with their well-being in mind. This is not accidental, and it is not disconnected from the system we've been naming. American patriarchy is a system built by the Founding Fathers, written into law, and protected for generations. It organizes power through hierarchy. It prioritizes control over care. And it depends on us, often without our consent, reproducing that system in our families, our workplaces, and our institutions. Children are not spared from this structure. They are shaped by it early. They learn which emotions are acceptable, which fears should be swallowed, which lives are protected, which harms are tolerated. And when we look honestly, we see that American patriarchy does not create the conditions children need to feel safe. It creates conditions that make harm more likely. Another truth we have to hold is this: American patriarchy produces widespread pain, but it teaches people to turn that pain inward or sideways, to blame themselves, to blame each other, instead of questioning the system that created the wounds in the first place. Many adults are living with unmet needs, unprocessed trauma, isolation, shame, fear. And rather than being offered care, healing, or community, they are told to push through, toughen up, or prove themselves. Children are then caught in the literal crossfire. They grow up in households, schools, and communities where adults are hurting but are unsupported, where pain has nowhere to go, where stress is constant, where harm becomes misdirected instead of addressed. And here we have to be specific. American patriarchy has taught men, especially white men, that their worth comes from dominance, control, and success. That vulnerability is weakness, that pain is failure. So when white men feel unfulfilled, when they feel powerless, isolated, depressed, or unable to measure up to the promises they were given, they are rarely encouraged to ask why. They are taught not to look inward, not to question the system, not to grieve what they are denied. Instead, they are often taught implicitly or explicitly to direct that pain outward, toward women, toward children, toward people they've been told are beneath them. This does not happen because white men are inherently violent. It happens because American patriarchy offers them a cruel bargain. You may not receive care, you may not receive fulfillment, you may not receive healing, but you can still feel powerful by asserting control over someone else. And when that message is repeated across generations, reinforced by culture, policy, and law, it becomes a pattern. A pattern where unexamined pain becomes entitlement, where unmet needs become resentment, where wounded adults are given permission to harm rather than heal. Children then absorb the consequences of that misdirection, not because they caused it, but because they are the most vulnerable people in the system. Gun violence is one of the most devastating examples of this. Children practicing lockdown drills. Children grieving classmates. Children learning fear far earlier than they should. This is what happens when a society prioritizes domination over care and control over connection. This doesn't excuse violence, but it does explain how a system built on hierarchy creates cycles of harm that ripple outward, from institutions to communities to families and on to our children. American patriarchy does not just fail to protect children, it sets the conditions that put them in danger. And seeing that clearly changes what you are willing to accept. So I will leave you with this reflection. What are the barriers you see in your own life, in your family, your work, your relationships that you no longer want to reproduce? And what might it look like to choose care, accountability, and healing instead? Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for staying with the hard truths. And thank you for imagining something better alongside me. I'll be back soon with the next chapter of this journey.